Alright, folks, welcome back. This is Balatro 101, as in, we did the math so you don't have to. Last time we focused on getting the maximum value out of the first round as often as possible, as safely as possible, by focusing on these core poker hands. At level 1, all of these give 4 mult and will usually one-shot the first round, respecting the fact that you could get wildly different scores depending on how many chips each individual card is worth. Even if you don't get the one shot, it's pretty tough to lose the first round. But as the scoring requirements get higher and higher round after round, a common complaint from even the most experienced Balatro players is that sometimes you just get unlucky. Sometimes you just lose to bad shops. Specifically, you can't find strong enough materials early enough and often enough to keep up with the increasing scoring requirements. That's not really the topic for today. We could talk about why that's wrong in a future video, but today we will talk about how to survive without jokers. Obviously, you can do an entire run without jokers, even on the highest level of difficulty, but today we're just going to focus on the first couple rounds, starting with some terminology. A good hand is any hand which could one-shot the first round. In most other situations, most 5-card hands will be good enough, but on the weaker side of things, you could go down as low as 225 points. Anything less than that is just filler. When I refer to the lower hands, I'm referring to not a specific number of points, but all of the hands that are just lower on the list of poker hands. Specifically 3 of a kind, 2 pair, and the rest of them. Equipped with this terminology, now we can say things like, one good hand is all it takes to beat the first round. Even if you get a weak hand, all you have to do is follow up with a pair. A high pair, by the way, is 60 points. The actual new topic for today is round 2. Assuming you can get at least one good hand, a 3 of a kind can be a good enough follow-up. 3 fives, for example, is 135 points, and 3 face cards is 180 points. It's important to note here, you do need 2 hands to win, but you don't need both hands to be good hands. If you draw the high triple at any point, usually it's best to just play it right away instead of trying to dig for the full house. That way you still have your discards left over so you can safely set up a separate 5-card hand. Just looking at the numbers, 3 pairs should also work, but you get more money if you play fewer hands. Something you may not have realized on your own, 2 pairs scores exactly the same as 2 separate pairs, which is around 100 points. Obviously, we won't always get a good 300-point hand. Luckily, any 2 hands will work, as long as we're talking about 5-card hands. When you're discarding, don't just hold on to the high cards because they could give you a lot of points. Low cards are okay. The thing that's most important is being able to draw these 2 separate 5-card hands. So when you're discarding, decide what is the one hand that I'm going to go for. Discard looking for that one hand. And very often you will run out of discards. It's okay to play a few hands as discards, just throw away a few hands, knowing that eventually when I get those 5-card hands, that will be enough. To review, a pair is about 50 points, 2 pairs twice as much, and 3 of a kind is about 150. 5-card hands could be anywhere from 200 to 325. Keeping in mind, all of these depend on what cards you play, whether you play high cards or low cards. Now, if I tell you the boss is 600 points, you should be able to figure out on your own. I might be able to do that in just 2 hands. Most of the time you're going to need a pair or 2 as filler, but not any more than that. Eventually, in a future episode, we will talk about all the possible bosses, but today we'll just focus on the Ante 1 bosses, because not every boss shows up in Ante 1. There are 4 bosses which debuff all cards of one suit, while the Pillar punishes you for reusing the same cards. Debuffed cards can still be used as part of poker hands, but these cards won't add any chips. Assuming you have 4 mult, 10 less chips is 40 less points, and that's 40 points per card being debuffed. Other bosses make it more difficult to assemble your poker hands, sometimes making it impossible to draw multiple hands. Without resorting to jokers yet, another way to score more points is to level up your hands. Higher level hands will score more points even if you draw bad cards, so you can still win without needing to draw multiple hands. A level 2 flush starts at 50 by 6 because each Jupiter card gives you 15 chips and 2 mult. If you include the chips from your cards, you can expect between 400 and 600 points. Almost always enough to one-shot round 2, almost never enough to one-shot the boss. For comparison, a level 2 straight starts at 60 by 7 because each Saturn card gives 30 chips and 3 mult. Why this is so much bigger is something I'll explain in a future video. For today, we'll just say it's somewhere between 500 and 800 points. Easily enough to one-shot round 2, also usually one-shots the boss. 60 by 7, by the way, is the same as a level 1 4 of a kind. For today, we don't have to go through all the hands, just the ones you're most likely to draw consistently. For example, 2 pair is about 200 points, and a pair is about 100 points. The way I like to think about this is 1 planet card upgrades the 2 pair to be about the same as what would be a 5 card hand. Alright, one more idea before we go. The Empress Tarot card creates these things called Molt cards. In addition to the chips we normally get, we also get +4 Molt. With 1 Molt card, the standard 75 times 4 becomes 75 times 8. Twice as much Molt, twice as many points. With 2 Molt cards, we have 3 times as much Molt, so we get 3 times as many points from just 1 Empress card. And a pair of Molt cards is already 300 points on their own, by the way. Similarly, there are bonus cards which give you extra chips instead of extra Molt. 30 chips brings your 5 card hands up to about 400 points, which is only 40% bigger than 300. We'll go over tarot cards and enhanced cards in the future and figure out why it's usually better to have bonus cards instead of Molt cards. For today, keep this in mind. When you're playing, you should never need to know exactly what your hand is going to score, but as you play more and more, you'll start to notice patterns. You'll start to pick up an intuition for how much different hands are worth, even taking into account what cards you play, whether they're high or low. Then, start each round with some plan, some idea what combination of hands you're going for. Good luck, and take care everyone.